Let me just say it now. Improv is weird. It's filled with a bunch of weird people doing a bunch of weird things in a weird situation. If you ever stop to think about what improv actually is, it's pretty fucking crazy. A bunch of grown adults go on stage and play pretend for about a half hour based on some word a random person says. Stephen Colbert called improv comedy without a safety net. Improv is special to me. And if you're watching this video, I bet it's special to you too. But improv gets a bad rap as being kind of dumb and lazy as far as art forms go. The whole thing seems to be designed for slackers. I mean, you don't have to write anything down. You don't have to memorize lines. You just yell dumb shit that comes out of your mind and call it good. So, I understand why people look down on it. But it was not until recently that I discovered something about improv that flipped the whole notion of what it actually was on its head. Improv is misunderstood because improv is not like other crafts. Improv is a Zen art. But what does it mean for something to be a Zen art? Let me explain. The whole goal of Zen is to live in the moment. Practicers of Zen point out how it seems like we live most of our lives in our own heads, either dwelling in the past or ruminating in the future. You're driving home, but your mind is thinking, what if I don't get that job? Or you're eating dinner and playing out an argument from years ago. There is a great Zen quote that goes, if you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. But if you are happy, you are living in the moment. The present is all we have to experience, which is why Zen, through meditation, tries to get us to connect to the present moment. The present moment. Hold on to that idea. Before we can talk about improv, we have to understand what makes improv so special among other art forms. And to do this, we have to understand what an art form even is. We can imagine all art forms as different length lines. These different lengths represent how long it takes for a piece of artwork to go from just an idea in an artist's head to a finished work of art. For example, a painter can have an idea for a painting and finish it in about a week. But to make a movie, the time between when the screenwriter comes up with the idea to when it can be a finished movie involves the writer actually writing the script, getting a producer, finding a director, getting the funds, assembling a crew, the actors actually memorizing lines, shooting, editing special effects, and then, and only then, is it a finished movie. We can see all art forms as different length lines, but improv is special. For improv has no line. The time between an idea happening and the art being made is instantaneous. It is an art form that takes place completely in the present moment. Improv is the quintessential Zen art form because it's the only art form that truly embraces the present. Improvise. Scenes from the Inside Out by Mick Napier states, a good improviser should not be thinking about what they're going to say next or what they already said, but rather clear their mind and learn to be present. That very quote could have easily come out of a Zen teacher. Here's a great example of an improviser living in the present moment. Ryan Stillings from Whose Line Is It Anyway, using these Zen teachings.
Things to say that will always start a fight. Guys want to fight?
Non-improviser might be so stuck in their own head, trying to come up with something clever, that they would overthink the obvious. The key with improv is to not try and to act naturally. And this lines up with the second principle of Zen, a concept known as Wu Wei, which translates to effortless action. The analogy used is that two boats are going to cross a pond. The first person chooses to row and uses great effort to get across. But the wise man puts up a sail and lets the wind do the work. Zen teaches us that when we fight against the universe and try to control everything, we suffer in vain. And rather, we should learn to adapt to life, like how a sail catches the wind. Truth and Comedy by Del Close reflects this same sentiment. Somebody new to improv might not understand at first, but the secret that all great improvisers know is to not try to be funny. For by trying to be funny, one is in a constant struggle. It is only when you let go, another Zen notion, that the comedy will come to you. Bruce Lee states that water is the ideal personification of Zen. If you put water in a cup, it becomes the cup. And if you put water in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Water can flow or creep or drip or crash, be like water. In improv, this is what is meant by yes and, to accept what is given to you and to adapt to it. Yes and is the exact pinnacle of Zen thought. Bill Murry, one of the most successful people to come from the improv world, said, "I try to live a little bit on the seat of my pants. I try to be present and open to life. We're in this life, and if you're not open, time goes past and you didn't really live it. But if you're open, life gets huge. You're really living it. You will find that any true master of improv would coincidentally be a master of Zen. For what else improv besides living Zen and being like water? While on stage, they are living in the moment. They adapt and become what the scene calls for, and they don't fight against circumstances. And like water, it might seem weak or passive at first, but slowly it erodes at a seed until the flow of laughter comes rushing across the audience. Improv is a Zen art.